stories of the day. Cuba is removed by Biden from the US terrorist list, marking a significant shift in international relations. And could Europe be gearing up to ban booze on flights? Welcome to Escape News, your go-to source for travel updates and inspiration. I'm Zoe and I will guide you through the latest stories. Now let's dive in. The Biden administration's recent move to remove Cuba from the United States state of sponsored terrorism list is a decision that may have wide-reaching consequences. While the political and economic aspects dominate the discussions, travellers from the USA and UK have plenty to consider. Could this signal a new era for Cuban tourism? And is it an easier path to experience this vibrant island? Understanding Cuba's removal from the terror list. President Joe Biden's decision to remove Cuba from the terror list marks a potential thaw in the US-Cuba relations. The designation, reinstated by Donald Trump in 2021, restricted the US economic aid, arms exports, and complicated travel arrangements. Biden's move comes as a part of a broader agreement involving the release of 553 prisoners detained in Cuba, many of whom were arrested following the anti-government protests in 2021. For travellers, this development could ease restrictions that have historically made visiting Cuba challenging, as well as visiting the USA. This decision is also seen as a step towards normalising relations, which could further enhance tourism opportunities in the coming years. While some argue that the shift is primarily symbolic, its potential to reshape Cuba's role as a travel destination cannot be ignored. Well, what does this mean for the UK and US travellers alike? So, for Americans, lifting Cuba's terror designation could simplify travel by easing restrictions on the flights, financial transactions, and tourism-related activities. Now, these changes could make it a lot easier for the US citizens to explore Havana's historic streets or unwind on Varado's stunning beaches without the bureaucratic hurdles that they are currently facing. For British travellers, the implications of this decision are significant. Under previous rules, UK citizens who visited Cuba on or after January 2021 were actually ineligible for the US ESTA visa. So this restriction tied to Cuba's inclusion of the terror list made it even more difficult for those travellers to transit through or visit the US. Now, with Cuba set to be removed from the list, the UK holidaymakers could find their travel options greatly expanded. Visiting Cuba would no longer jeopardize their eligibility for an ESTA, allowing seamless travel between the US and other destinations. This change is particularly beneficial for those planning multi-stop trips in the Caribbean or North America. Some travelers have criticized the previous policy as overly restrictive, and its removal is likely to be welcomed. Additionally, the benefits go beyond the ESTA eligibility. As Cuba's economic potential opens up, the foreign investment, the country may experience improvements in tourism, and it may have enhanced accommodation options, better transport links, and increased accessibility. It's all likely outcomes. However, travellers should also remain realistic about the pace of change. Some observers will argue that Cuba's economic challenges and political landscapes could delay these improvements. Now, challenges that we all need to consider, and also rewards, if you want to call it that way. These developments bring hope. Challenges remain. Cuba's infrastructure is strained by years of sanctions and economic difficulties. It still poses limitations for visitors, and travellers should really prepare for issues such as limited luxury options, awful internet access, and occasional shortages of the goods. Now, if you're not that bothered about the internet access, it's fine. I mean, a lot of people that go on cruises don't have internet access, but I wouldn't say that it's going to be amazing right now as soon as they open the borders. Anyway, yet for many, these very challenges actually add on to Cuba's appeal. The island offers authentic travel experiences, from its vibrant cultural scene to its absolutely unspoiled nature. For adventurers and culture enthusiasts, now actually might be the perfect time to visit before the large-scale tourism transforms the destination. Get your flights booked, get on over. Why not? Let's just give it a shot. But it's a promising future for travel in 2025 and beyond. Easing the restrictions could make Cuba a more accessible and appealing destination for British and American travellers alike. Direct flights are likely to increase. Financial transactions may even become more straightforward, and multi stop itineraries involving both the US and Cuba will become more feasible. For holidaymakers eager to explore the island's unique blend of history, culture, and stunning landscapes, these developments are welcomed. They're a welcoming sign because we've got so many improvements, and those that are seeking the off beacon path experience that Cuba provides, it remains a rare gem in the world of travel. The Biden administration's decision represents more than a political gesture. It's a potential gateway to brighter tourism future for Cuba. So whether you're American or a British traveller, the opportunity to explore this captivating island may become much more easier and more rewarding. With the lively rhythms of Havana to the tranquil beaches of the Caribbean coastline, Cuba's allure with undeniable and new opportunities on the horizon. There's never been a better time to plan your Cuban adventure than now. Now, it's no secret that air travel has its challenges, but Europe's largest airline, Ryanair, is taking a bold step to address one of the sky's biggest headaches: disrupted, intoxicated passengers. In a move that is sparking debate across Europe, Ryanair has called for the European Union to impose a 2-drink limit on passengers at the airports. Why? According to the airline, unrestricted alcohol consumption at the airport bars is fueling bad behaviour on planes. A Ryanair spokesperson put it pretty bluntly: passengers are consuming excess alcohol during flight delays without any limit on purchase or consumption. And when these passengers board, it's not just the turbulence that disrupts flights, it's them. This isn't just the talk of Ryanair. Ryanair is taking legal action, suing an unruly passenger for €15,000. So that's like what, 15,500. It's like 14 and a bit grand, like a bit more than that. But they're suing them in damages. The incident occurred on a flight from Dublin to Lanzarote in Spain, where a disruptive passenger caused the plane to divert to Porto, forcing 160 other passengers to endure an overnight delay. The airline CEO, Michael O'Leary, has long criticised what he sees as lax airport alcohol policies. So they're blaming them on increasing incidents of passenger violence. And to be honest, he's not alone. According to 2023 data from the International Air Transport Association, unruly passenger incidents are on the rise, with one reported for every 480 flights, compared to the one per 568 flights the year before. Now, just to put that into perspective for you, the UK has an average of 5,500 to 6,000 flights a day going out. Now, that's averagely 12 passengers, 12 flights that have had some sort of disrupt a day because of unruly passengers. Now, this could be intoxication, this could be anything, just a passenger behaving badly, so to say. So Ryanair already limits alcohol sales on its flights, and it's now urging airports to follow the same. The airline suggests using the passengers' boarding passes to track and limit drink purchases, similar how to duty-free sales are regulated. But What does this mean for travellers, especially people that are travelling within Europe? This means stricter airport rules could be coming in, and if European Union decides to adopt Ryanair's proposal, airports might enforce a 2-drink limit for passengers. Now, this could mean saying goodbye to multiple pints during a layover or lengthy delays, smoother flights, but the upside? This could mean saying goodbye to multiple pints during a layover or lengthy delays, but it could mean smoother flights. So the upside is reduced alcohol consumption at airports could lead to fewer mid-air disturbances, making flights safer and more enjoyable for everyone on board. But there's higher accountability for behaviour with legal action like Ryanair's 15,000 euro lawsuit. Airlines are sending a clear message. Unruly behaviour will not be tolerated. Passengers will need to think twice before overindulging at the bar. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I have had one or two many few rum or cokes on a Ryanair flight. And to be fair, I probably wouldn't do it again. Because it was very eventful. Now, it doesn't mean I was being disruptive. Me and my friend was just sat in our seats giggling to ourselves the whole time. But anyway, Ryanair's push for a 2-drink limit at airports is actually dividing opinions. Now, while some of it see it as a buzzkill for holidaymakers and the people that just want to get a quick weekend trip away, others view it as a necessary step to ensure a smoother and safer travel for everyone. Now, what do you think? Should airports limit alcohol sales to 2 drinks per passenger? Or is this a step too far? Please put your thoughts in the comments. I'd be really interested to know what you think. Now, almost staying on the same topic, but hitting a different story. A seemingly ordinary flight from Amsterdam to New York turned into a mid-air nightmare when a nervous flyer caused major disruption, forcing the plane to divert to Dublin. Zachary Greer, a 34-year-old climate research analyst from the United States, mixed alcohol with the tranquilizer Xanax to ease his flying anxiety. Instead, his concoction led to chaos on board the United Airlines flight. The Dublin District Court heard the startling details, and Greer became highly intoxicated. He urinated in his seat and the aisle and exhibited abusive behaviour towards passengers and crew. A decision was made by the captain to divert the flight over, resulting in the dumping of 30,000 worth of fuel. 30,000 euros worth of fuel, just to even spruce that up a little bit. But before landing in Dublin, now that is an insane amount of fuel to be dropping down. Greer was arrested upon arrival and later admitted to 3 offences under Ireland's Air Navigation and Transport Act, including intoxication, threatening behaviour and causing annoyance. The Irish Garda who handled this case said that Greer was so intoxicated he didn't even know where he was upon arrest. Appearing in court, Greer expressed deep remorse for his actions. His solicitor described him as horrified and embarrassed, adding that Greer had offered a written apology and was willing to pay the damages. Initially, he offered 5,000 euros, which is about £4,100, or it's about 5,400 to $5,000. But the presiding judge actually called the amount insufficient, ordering him to return with double that. Greer ultimately paid 10,000 euros, which is about 8,000, 8,500 to cover damages. While the court recognised his remorse and lack of prior convictions, they didn't mince about the words of the severity of the disruption. He was calling his behaviour appalling. She noted that the immense stress caused to the flight crew, passengers, and the pilot was just too much. So he was given a 2-month jail imprisonment, but it has currently been postponed, and we're not exactly sure whether he is going to be taking the time or not. Greer's case underscores the massive ripple effects of unruly passenger behaviour. Diversions like this one don't just inconvenience passengers, they come with a hefty price tag. In this instance, the airline lost tens of thousands of euros dumped in fuel, operational costs, and the delays. And also, let's acknowledge the fact that tens of thousands of fuel just being dropped for no reason is really not good for the environment. The stress and the fear inflicted on the passengers and crew is an emotional toll that no money could compensate for. So what does this mean for passengers? So alcohol and medication is a dangerous mix, and this incident highlights the risk of combining, well, anxiety medication and alcohol, never mind anything else. But this particularly is problematic because it's in a high stress environment, in the air, thousands of feet, and like no way out of it. But passengers with anxiety should consult their doctors about safe coping mechanisms for flying. Also, the airlines can take unruly behaviour quite seriously with everything going on with the Ryanair one and this one, and the fact that 12 passengers a day can disrupt flights. It can face severe consequences, and also you can get fines, legal charges, and even imprisonment. Greer's case is a cautionary tale for anyone that is tempted to overindulge before or during a flight, and it's also going to give increased awareness for nervous flyers, which is great because everyone should be aware that flying isn't easy for some people. Many airlines and airports are now going to offer resources for anxious travellers, from quiet lounges and pre-flight counselling. Maybe that's an option, but these alternatives could prevent incidents like this from occurring in the first place. For airline and regulations, this case adds to the weight of ongoing discussions about stricter alcohol policies at airports and on flights. Could the two situations that we discussed today be the final steps into the alcohol limits when travelling? Now, thanks for tuning in to Escape News, where every day is a journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss the story that inspires your next adventure. Until next time, safe travels, happy exploring, and don't get drunk on a flight.